welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for joining us for episode 29 here on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. Today, we will be discussing the upcoming match between Inter Miami and FC Cincinnati. For those of you watching on YouTube, if you like Dave's shirt, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you don't like his shirt, leave us a comment to tell us what he should wear next episode. We want to give a huge shout out to our chief Heron Head, Matias. Thank you so much for your generous support. Additionally, we'd like to thank our other Heron Heads, Art, Brian, Kevin, James, and Karen. Thank you so much for your support. And if you feel so inclined to support us on Patreon, you will find a link in the description wherever you are listening. And if you don't feel so inclined, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. So, yesterday was rough. It was the really difficult watch of Inter Miami versus Chicago. The boys fly back, and we have another quick turnaround against the best team in the league. No big deal. They lifted the supporter shield last night, and we got our butts kicked. So, Chris, just barely 24 hours removed. How are you feeling?
Still hurting. Still feeling it. Usually like to brush these feelings off, but I don't know. Last night was just different. It was just rough. It really hurt us, I think, and we let it all out last night on last night's episode. If anyone hasn't watched it, go back and watch it. It was actually pretty good. We all just kind of vented for 50 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever it was. So it was fun, but what we saw before wasn't fun. And then, like you just said, now we got the best team in the MLS. They just won the Supporters Shield, and we got them. We got them next to possibly continue this playoff hope, which is diminishing match by match. So it's going to be a tough one. I don't know if a lot of people feel very confident about this. There's a lot going against us. That Messi question still looming above our heads. We just came from a horrible loss. Who knows how the team feels, how the atmosphere is in that locker room. We don't know, but it can't be very good. So, well, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for anybody to get a very good feeling about this match. I don't want to say that to get excited because I'm excited to watch because we still have a mathematical chance of making the playoffs. So yes, we're excited to watch the game. That being said, it's kind of interesting. I've heard some talk about Cincinnati resting starters, and that would play into Miami's favor. However, I find it hard to believe that any team that's already in the playoffs will go easy on Miami at all, because I feel like it behooves all these playoff teams to keep Miami out. Because if we get into the playoffs, if we sneak in with Messi and Alba coming back in the mend, I know Chris doesn't believe that Messi will play again this year, but if the rumors are true and that he's very close, I know a lot of the players were saying, I think Busquets in particular was saying that Messi's close. If they come back and we do eke into the playoffs, I don't think anybody wants to see that. So I find it hard to believe that Cincinnati will rest starters. I know that Lucho came off the bench last match for them. I expect him to start this time, and I think they're going to try to put the final nail in the coffin for us.
Yeah, I agree with David. It definitely is in their favor to just, right now we're down. It doesn't really matter if Messi's going to come off the bench. They're going to surf for the first 60 minutes and just put it on us. And that's what I kind of expect, because when we were at our peak with Messi in trying to get that cup, the first cup, it was rough. They were tough out as it was. And that was with Alba, that was with Messi, and they weren't necessarily too fatigued at that point. I think towards the end they started to get a little more fatigued, but I still think that was pretty top for Miami with them in the lineup, and they gave us a lot of problems, and it ended up a 2-2 tie, which we ended in the penalty kicks, which was very drama filled, which is a very fun game. But we have to hope, we have to hope that they're just looking at it like we don't need to really put all our eggs in this game and just sit people down and just. I hope they do the same thing that they did with the Red Bulls before, and they treat us like that. That'd be great. Because I agree. Once the don't I remember when the Heat were in the playoffs last time against the Celtics. The Celtics kept telling us, "Don't let us get one game. We're up 3-1." We're like, okay, and they actually kept winning. I was like, okay, this is getting a little scary. That's kind of how I feel like if they let us into the playoffs, that's kind of how I feel like we will be. Where it's like, don't let us win this game, because if we let us win this game, it's a snowball, and it can be something pretty, but it's not what we've seen so far. So I don't really expect it. We know them, they know us with Messi, they know us without Messi, and I don't like what I see on the other side, to be honest, or on our side if Messi's not on.
Yeah, the biggest difference between last time we played Cincinnati and this time that we played Cincinnati is, at the very least, this match is in Miami. They're still one of the best teams in the league away from home, don't get me wrong, but they're not as impenetrable as they are at home. At home, they've only allowed 11 goals, whereas away, they've allowed in the 20s. So it's still an extremely difficult matchup, whoever we have on the pitch, because like you said, Jose, even when we had Messi, Busquets, and Alba with fewer games played, fewer minutes played, it was still one of the most difficult games we saw when all of them were available to us. So it's going to be a battle, no matter how we slice it. It should be it's going to be the last litmus test of this team. And so far, they've failed pretty much everyone in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So my hopes aren't high, or my expectations aren't that high. But the boys do still have something left to play for. Like Dave mentioned, there's still a mathematical chance that they can make the playoffs. And they no longer control their own destiny. But the only way they can make it at this point is to win. And they got to start on Saturday. Is it are the odds in their favor? Not even a little bit. So they got to go out there. They got to play, like we always say, within themselves. They got to play within the system. And if they tighten up, who knows? There's always a shot for an underdog to win. That's why they play the game. And we'll see if we can pull off, I guess, what would be a miracle on Saturday. So to jump in, there's been a lot of talk of Messi potentially targeting the Cincinnati match as the game to return to action. Just today, Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald reported that Messi likely will play. I don't know how true these reports are anymore. I don't know who's giving the information to who, but it seems like every match day since Toronto, we've known that he might play. He's close to getting back. That keeps kind of ducking around the questions. What do you guys think? Is Messi going to play?
He's been day-to-day for like a month and a half now. Give me a break. I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe a word anyone says. He's not going to play. There's no reason for him to play, honestly. Yes, we saw that small mathematical chance, but if he's truly hurt or recovering from a re-injury or whatever it is it really worth him possibly getting re-injured and missing his Argentina international matches coming up? I think he values those a lot more than a possible Cincinnati game that doesn't really mean anything to the team. Again, we'll look at it later in this episode, the chances of us actually making into the playoffs and who needs to win, who needs to lose. But again, I don't think I think he's very conscious of what he needs to do, and international play is at the top of his list right now.
I don't think our position on the table factors in too much to him playing in this match. I think that if he is healthy enough to go, this would be more of a tune-up opportunity for him. And he just wants to get his legs under him, because it's one thing to train and it's another thing to go out there and actually play the match. So if he's been training now for about a week, I think it's important for him, if he wants to play for Argentina, to get some minutes in live action and play a little bit. I don't expect him to play much, but I do expect him to just knock the rust off a little bit out there and make a fool out of Cincinnati for 20 minutes and then take himself out. So I don't think he'll start. but I wouldn't be surprised if he's just a late add-on just to provide a little boost for us. But again, I do think if he's healthy enough to give it a go, he would want to play just for his own sake, so he doesn't show up to Argentina completely raw, basically.
I think it goes back to what I said. I don't know, it was the last episode or the one before. Argentina doesn't really need Messi to play all game, to tell the truth. So why risk it in an MLS match? Doesn't mean a lot when he could really start playing just a little bit, half a match or whatever it is, that first international match. I just don't see the reason for him to play in this match to risk that. He could get his legs under him to play in the first international match, and he'll be fine. They could play him for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, pull him out, and that's it. They'll still win. Argentina's a powerhouse.
You're on mute, Jose.
The thing with Argentina is that it does impact the game in a World Cup qualifier, whereas here it's just another game, right? Let's say you look at it like that, right? Let's say you look at it like, okay, it's not a big deal here. Okay, so that he's probably looking at it the same way, where his substitution in or out doesn't really matter. Whereas, why would he take that away from in Argentina when they need all the substitutions they can possibly get, and it's probably very important in those games. That's my argument against it, right? Where he's like, okay, well, let me just test out for a few minutes here. If it goes well, it goes well, and then I can go over there. If it doesn't, I'm not going to go over there. What's the point? But going back to what we're talking about, look, right now, a ticket to get into the Inter Miami game for this Saturday is for $60. That is the lowest that it's ever been since Messi's gotten here. What do you think that means for the supporters? The supporters right now don't think that Michelle Kaufman knows anything what you're talking about. That's just the feeling. When you lie to the fans constantly, a Miami Herald reporter say that he's expected to play, and people don't believe it. That's crazy. So what I'm thinking is, look, ultimately it's put up or shut up time. If they win these next 3 games, book it, they're going to get into the playoffs. That's just the way I see it. I've seen it already enough times. I've gone through the schedules that all the teams are playing. They all play against each other. They're not good teams. These are not good teams. If we can pull 3 games together and win them all, yeah, that's asking a lot considering what we've seen. But I also think that if we keep this game close with Cincinnati and they do put in Messi somehow, I mean, a half Messi's better than whatever we've been getting from Robert Taylor. I hate to tell you. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you never know. Yeah, it also uplifts the team. Hey, our guy's here, our big dog. And let's try and do something here. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as far-fetched to think that we can make it. I know that we have to count on other people, but they have to play anyways, and they're playing each other. So it's like, it's not really a far-fetched thing to think that we can make it still. Now, if we lose this game, yeah, we're definitely out.
Let's just say we win this game, Jose, for the for the argument. My issue going against Charlotte is we have the international breaks. We're gonna have to beat Charlotte twice with like the D squad, not even the B squad, not the C squad. We have so many players. Granted, the U.S. decided to abandon ship on all of our American players, but still, we're not going to have so many players, and we've been relying so much on Kamal Miller, where Gomez is going to be out. I think did Arroyo get called up? I believe Arroyo got called up. It's just a lot of our staples are out, and Alba's not going to play, and Messi's not going to play. Like, it's just going to be so difficult, especially seeing how we've been playing lately. Our form is just not there, and then you start taking away players that aren't even good enough to win the last couple games, and then we're going to have people who are technically not as talented as them being relied upon and haven't played much. So it's a very, very, very tall order to think that we can pull three in a row. I pray for the best. I really do. I love this club and I want them to get in, but I don't think it's a realistic expectation for us to run 3 in a row.
To me, that's the 1-2 punch that's been presented to Miami. You have the best team in the league first, and let's say, okay, maybe we dodge that punch. But then the next punch is half your team is leaving. half your team is going out of the country to play international matches. You have Robert Taylor's out, Jose's favorite player. You have, I think Joseph Martinez also was called up. You have like backup players that we haven't seen in a long time. You have Edson Ascona. You have
I don't think Arroyo was called up.
And Miller.
Christoph and Miller, correct. You have just Facu. Facu was called up. You just have all these players that are called up. So like this, like the team that we're gonna see is gonna be like Benja.
Unrecognizable.
It's gonna be Benja, Yedlin, and Calendar. You're gonna have Campana. You're gonna have Arroyo. I guess Busquets is retired from international play, so you'll have him.
If he plays, because he has
David Ruiz. I don't know. Was he called up for Honduras? I didn't see any of that today. But
so far, not yet. I think
we got enough.
Point being, it's going to be extremely difficult because at the very least, there's finally a 7-day stretch between matches after this FC Cincinnati game. There's like a proper full week in between matches, but there's not a lot left in the arsenal that Tata can throw on the field to combat Charlotte, not just once, but twice. And I think that changes the dynamic a lot. It's like when you get into any playoff scenario where there's multiple matches, where you play the same team back to back to back. The coaching staff is able to game plan so much more thoroughly because, okay, let's say you set a game plan for game 1. Whatever goes wrong, you can still keep game plan from game 1 and just tinker a little bit, fix the issues that were wrong, and have a much more comprehensive game plan for game 2 that maybe doesn't change the game 1 outcome from a win or from a loss to a win, but maybe just gets you to a draw. And that could be the deciding factor between Miami making the playoffs and Miami not making the playoffs. To me, that's what's so difficult. And that's what that second of the 1-2 punch is. It's like a combination of having a depleted set of players available and then having to play a team back to back, I think is extremely underrated as far as the difficulty of it all. So anyways, the scenario.
I was just looking something up. Okay, Charlotte FC also has guys that are getting called up too. Did you know that? How about that? And guess what?
How many?
Yeah. Two. I understand that but their best player, like literally. But this is the thing. This is what I want you guys to understand. Our level is way higher than their level. So let's say we start getting. Based
on what?
Jose, remember before we had all of our additions to this team. Before we had all the additions to this team, we were the worst team in the league.
And do you know what we were with them? What our matchup head to head was?
We were last place
with Messi
versus them.
For Charlotte?
Messi. Yes.
Okay, what was it?
I don't know. I just wanted to see if you knew. No, we're 4-1 total. We're 4-1 total so far with them head to head. That's what.
Is this in ever or just this season?
Is that the scoreline for the last match that we played against them without Messi, or is that the all-time record against them?
I'll tear it up.
If it's all-time record, I don't know. I mean,
Jesus.
It just nothing that I've seen without Messi, without Alba, gives me confidence that we could beat anyone. I can't say that with any sort of confidence. And there's nothing about this team that tells me
that we can do that. 4 other regulars.
No, yeah, it says 4. It says 4. Where we won 4 and they won 1. I don't know. That seems like a lot of games. I don't know if it's for
probably all time.
That's probably all time then.
Okay, so I mean 4-1-1 all time.
Yeah, but again, I have zero confidence in this team right now. You take out Facu and Robert Taylor. So who's playing up front? You got Campana. And then you got
White.
Who? I'm sorry.
Ruiz at right.
Okay.
Stefanelli.
Right? Like these pieces that we're throwing, they're okay. We're maybe excited to see them. Maybe Robbie Robinson sneaks in. But sure.
But look, you're relying on guys that never play.
Yeah. Does that give you any confidence? It doesn't give me confidence. Like I understand what you're trying to argue, Jose, and we want to give like the bright side of things here. But at the end of the day, this team has done nothing over the past 4 matches against teams that have not been much better than Charlotte, if we're being honest, with the exception maybe of NYCFC. I don't think it's such a final answer, like clear-cut answer, that Miami's definitely levels better than Charlotte.
No, but I do. But my original point was, if we win out these next 3 games, which I do think is possible, right? That was the original argument that I was making. If we win the next 3 games, I believe that we can make the playoffs. I think that's enough points to make the playoffs. That's it. Now
We need help.
from there, we do. But like I said before, if you see all the games of the people ahead of us, they're all playing each other.
Yeah, but if Chicago just ties 1 match, we're done.
It's not true.
Yes.
That's not
No,
true.
they're in the 8th seed right now, so
No.
They can draw 1. The thing is, they can't win anymore,
Mhm.
because if they win anymore, then they're beyond our reach.
The thing is that there's 2 teams also. There's 2 teams also. We're trying to get the 2 seeds, and everyone's like pretty much fighting for both those
Everyone's
seeds
jostling for them.
out of 7 teams, right? And we're all pretty much in there. And ultimately, none of those teams have been winning like crazy, right? It's not like we're not going up against juggernauts here. So it's one of those things where I can totally see these teams dropping or tying. I can. It's just it's easy. It's easy to see.
Here's what worries me. The only 2 teams that worry me: Chicago and NYCFC. Those 2 teams have. New York City FC has not lost a match in over 5 matches. Chicago's only dropped 1 match. They've lost 1 match. Then they're 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Those 2 teams worry me. We need either of those teams to lose at least 1. Chicago just cannot win another one. So let me run through all the teams, right? So there's Inter Miami, there's New York Red Bulls, there's DC United, New York City, Montreal, and Chicago. Those are the teams that are realistically like jostling for these positions. So let's just assume that Inter Miami wins out, which gives them 9 points and brings their total to 42. We need New York Red Bulls, New York City, and Montreal to lose at least one of their 2 remaining matches. We need DC is irrelevant because they only have 1 match. So we have 2 games in hand on them, or 1 game in hand on them, and we can make up the points that they already have ahead of us. And then Chicago simply cannot win any of the 2 matches, which means that they can draw both, and we can still we can level them, and then we'll see the goal differential. Right now, they're at a -9, and we're at a -11. So given the idea that we're winning 3, that means we have to gain at least 3, and we would be at -8 to their -9. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just, I think it's hard to say with any sort of certainty that we can win these 3. If we do somehow win these 3, I can't say I like our chances, because I think Chicago and New York City will sort of end up in those last 2 spots, but we certainly give ourselves a chance if we get to 42. It's just gonna be tough.
I'm saying book it. How about that? I'm saying book it. We'll get in, and that'll be fine. But now, you were saying the 2 teams. So you're worried about NYCFC and you're worried about Chicago, correct? I'm worried about Miami. We have to.
The problem is
win the 3 games.
But the problem is, we don't control our destiny. So you have to be worried about the other teams.
No, I get you, but I think it's harder for us to win the 3 games than it is to rely on those teams. I think those teams aren't good enough to. Okay, so NYCFC controls their own destiny, right? Okay.
Every team but us control their own destiny.
Right. So
other teams control our destiny, which is the problem.
So I don't think they're good enough to say, okay, well, I'm just going to win the rest of the games. They're not.
The thing is, they don't need to win the rest of their games.
Right.
They just have to win 1.
They all just have to win 1.
They need to lose 1 for us to have a chance. They can win 1, but if they then lose
win 1, we're out. Right?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because we can still beat some of these teams by a point.
Yeah.
So there's basically Chicago's already at 40. So if Chicago wins any of their remaining games, they're out of reach, right? They would get to 43, and we can't get to them because the most we can get to is 42.
Mm-hmm.
All the other teams, starting with Montreal and New York City, they're at 38. So they have 2 matches left. As long as they lose 1, the most they can get is 41. So
they can't tie both games.
They just right. They also can't tie both games, correct? It's just like I get what you're saying, Jose.
There's a lot of scenarios.
It's my confidence in our team,
correct,
where I'm having the issue saying, okay, it's possible, it's likely, like any of these statements. I think the hardest time I'm having is saying that our team is going to be the ones that win 3 straight, given all the things that are stacked against us.
Yeah, the thing is, it's getting those 9 points is the biggest hurdle.
Like literally this last game, that's why it was so pitiful, because if they would have had a tie, I mean, it would have gone a long way for us.
That's the worst goal scoring team, one of the worst goal scoring teams in the MLS, and they hung up 4 on us, and it could have easily have been 5.
Shaqiri,
how does that give you any confidence that we can run 3 in a row?
This Shaqiri guy, I thought he was Ronaldo for a game. I don't know.
Well, they were calling him Alpine Messi, is what I heard.
What was he?
They called him Alpine Messi.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robert Twellman.
Taylor
Twellman. I don't care. Robert Taylor.
Yep.
Same
rent free up in there.
Seriously. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm expecting in this particular game for Cincinnati for Acosta Popenza to show up. You know, I'm just praying that our guys show up. Like we've seen. The thing is, what sucks is that we've seen these guys play well. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's been most disappointing. Is that we've seen our players play at a high level, and they just haven't lived up to that level. Here's what I'm hoping is that I do think Messi plays. I don't think I ever answered that, but I do think Messi plays. I think, like Dave said, it'll be very limited. However, I'm hoping that the knowledge that Messi is going to play really uplifts the morale of the team, and they get back to the form that they had when we played Sporting Kansas City, when we played Toronto even. I mean, Messi left that game and it was 0-0. That game ended 4-0. I know it's Toronto, but like just the mentality when you know that you have Messi as potential for coming on and playing some minutes, maybe they do grind it out for 70 minutes and keep it 0-0, and then Messi comes on, and that changes everything, right? Like, if that's the scenario, I'm going to be pretty hype. Right now, I'm kind of just like tempering my expectations because nothing that they've done has really shown me that we can really even keep it to 0-0, keep it a draw. I don't see anything that would tell me that that's realistic.
Look, there's things that we can look forward to in this game. Okay, Toto should be back, right? We should be getting him. We'll be getting our back line should be intact, other than Alba, obviously, but you know I expect that to be good.
We'll have our first choice,
correct, and then you go to the mid and the forwards. I mean, we're gonna have David Ruiz back. I'm expecting him to play some big minutes. That's something that Chris should be excited about, right? It's you know we got some guys coming back that we had rested before. I think Campana's gonna play back. He's fully rested. I mean, I think that Tata's also kind of gearing up for this game a little bit in that sense, right? And then all of a sudden you throw in Messi, that, you know, God forbid he plays a few minutes and he gets a goal. You know, I mean, I can see us, you know, and I can see Cincinnati saying, "Did you see what happened against Chicago? Let's rest these guys. We can pack it in. We're fine. Just stay at home. We don't gotta come. We don't gotta come down here."
That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. Like I said, I don't think they're going to do that. They want it.
Cincinnati
want to put us away.
Cincinnati would theoretically play us in the first round of their playoffs. So I don't think they want to deal with that. I think they just completely go after it. I think all their big guns start. They go hard until Messi steps onto that pitch, and even when Messi steps on that pitch, they go hard. They want to test out that scar tissue that the club has said has been an issue. You know, they're going to make him work hard. They're going to be riding him, tackling him from the back. They're going to be just like really getting after him to see if he's up to speed. I don't think there's any chance that they go easy or take it easy.
So, Jose, I didn't react too much when you said David Ruiz, my player, whatever. I'll be happy. I would be happy, but I just don't know anymore. I've gotten to the point that I've almost lost not lost confidence in Tata, but I just don't know what Tata's gonna do anymore. He's been playing mind games, or I want to call it mind games. Maybe maybe he's just trying a bunch of different things and whatever sticks. But yeah, I don't even know anymore. So would I be excited if David Ruiz plays? Yes. Do I think he's gonna play him? God, I don't know. He should have played him last match. He didn't. So I don't know what he's gonna do anymore. I just have no idea. And you said what did you say about Tata? You mentioned something about Tata as well.
I think Campana's gonna be back.
He was injured,
Hopefully.
so we don't know.
He was injured.
He picked up a small injury, so we don't know his status. It wasn't that he was resting; it was that he was injured.
Okay.
Right. So hopefully he's back too. But yeah, I just don't know about Tata, what he's gonna do anymore. We keep trying to guess the formation, the personnel every match, and he just throws us a curveball every single time. There's not one match that he's done something that we kind of sort of predicted, unless you're Dave Stradamus that gets everything right. But but yeah, he's kind of just been all over the place. I don't even know. No idea.
Yeah, we keep thinking he's gearing up. Oh, he's saving so and so for this match. He's saving, and then it just never happens. It doesn't. Every time we think this is the match he's going to take seriously, then he does another tweak that doesn't really make sense. At least not to the layperson here. And I don't know. It's just difficult because we do have these lofty expectations. So we want to put our best foot forward, and it's just been match after match after match of him making these strange tactical choices to start the matches. And yeah, that last match, just not including Ruiz at all, was bizarre. So yeah, I'm fully on board with Chris when you say we're expecting a full dose of David Ruiz, and it's like, I hope so.
That's exactly right.
I would expect though. But the real questions here, guys, where are we putting Robert Taylor in this game?
In your back pocket.
Where?
In your head. He's living rent free in your head.
I was going to give him a left wing, a right wing, back.
Let's talk about our predictions for this match. Let's do our darndest to figure out what's going on in Tata's mind. I know for those of you listening, I know we didn't talk too much about Cincinnati, but we know they're the best team in the league. We know who their dangerous players are. They have so many. Bupenza, Acosta. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we're not going to, analyze how good they are. We're just going to talk about Miami, and we're going to do our best to guess what Tata's going to do. So I think he comes out with a similar formation as he did against Chicago. Even though we have Toto back, I think we need to try to do the 4 at the back. It gives us more. We felt at times that the possession was better. It felt more impactful, more intent behind it. And even though we obviously lost that game by quite a wide margin, maybe they get that lift by knowing that Messi's going to be coming in. I think to the question that was posed about Robert Taylor, I think he starts again at right wing, but I think Ruiz does get into the starting lineup in the midfield. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Farias does not start. And then as far as score, I'm going to keep believing, Jose. I know you were kind of isolated as the only one really believing that we can make the playoffs and book it and all that. So I'll join you, one last time. And I'll say that we win 1-0, squeak it out. Messi comes on late and scores, and he's a hero again.
Yeah. I think if Messi does play in this match, we have a chance. Always. Anytime Messi plays, we have a chance. So if Messi does play, I give us a 2-1 prediction. Now,
caveat.
If we get duped again, we've been duped over and over and over for the last 5-6 matches. If Messi's not included, not even on the bench, I think that it causes a huge ripple effect at this club, demoralizes them like we saw before. I think it was against Atlanta, and I think that we fall apart and we lose 0-4.
Base or Damas special, baby. Throw in your little caveats. Love it.
You know what? If you don't like my caveats, I'll show you where you can put them.
Chris, make sure you please, Chris, make sure you say every angle and every possibility that can happen.
So if Messi plays, but if he doesn't play,
I want to hear.
Campana plays with Messi together with Facu behind.
Alba shows up from the heavens.
I mean, if out of nowhere, Alba
if Higuain shows up out of nowhere, I heard he was playing.
Out of nowhere.
Pizarro shows up.
No, please no.
No, then
The
it's a loss.
Avengers. It'll be the Avengers of Inter Miami's past.
Mulder comes out of nowhere.
Oh man. So my prediction. I'm gonna call it a tie. It's gonna go 1-1. 1-1 tie.
Chris, you've been
Messi's
talking
not
about
playing.
Right. Just
Messi's not playing.
go in. You've been talking so sad.
No, it's gonna be a 1-1 tie. Messi's not gonna play. I don't think Cincinnati. I know you guys are saying that Cincinnati doesn't want to see us in the playoffs. I think they know they're not gonna see us in the playoffs. We're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna get in there. It's very difficult, and I think they know even more that we're not gonna get in there. So I think they're gonna rest up, make sure everyone stays healthy for their playoff run. They don't want their supporter shield to go to waste. They want to make a long run, so make sure everyone stays healthy. So that's why I think it's a 1-1. Messi doesn't play. They'll probably play their studs for a little bit, but not too much. They don't want to risk it. And what else what were we asking about? Robert Taylor. Yeah, he'll stay right wing.
That's not a
Whatever.
real question. That's not a real question.
We were just gonna ask you. We were just gonna ask you why you hate this club so much.
Yeah.
What did they? What
I
did they
love
do
this
to
club.
you?
I
What
love
did
this
Messi-
club.
What did Messi do to you that you doubt him so much?
Why do you like
Messi
Ronaldo
hasn't
so
done
much
anything to me.
more?
The club has lied.
I think
been
I saw.
deceitful.
I think I looked into Chris's window once, and I saw he was wearing a Ronaldo onesie pajama. So I
really?
think I understand. I understand
creepy.
why he's.
Well, David has Cincinnati FC gear all over his house, so I don't know what to tell you.
Wow.
This is Miami, sir.
No,
That says Miami
your
FC.
Your helmet
Completely
is very
different
A lot
than
of
Miami,
friendly
buddy.
fire here.
Confusing it.
So,
You're
Jose,
confusing
why don't you take it away with your prediction?
If Robert Taylor plays at right wing, we're gonna lose. If he plays at all, we're still gonna lose. No.
Didn't you predict 3 wins in a row?
You know what? Guess what, folks? Guess what? This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna put on my helmet. I don't have a helmet. We're gonna go up. We're gonna be losing 1-0. It's gonna be a horrible first half. We're gonna hate ourselves. We're gonna pull our hairs. You guys are gonna be texting me. Hold on, you see what happened? You see we suck. I'm gonna say, guys, relax. Let's just keep watching. Messi out of nowhere is gonna descend from the heavens. He's gonna come in at the 66th minute. The 69th minute, and what's gonna happen? It's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna see him come in all his glory. He's gonna put one goal. But by then, Cincinnati's already gonna. Tata's gonna play a chess match. He's gonna let them start taking their guys off. Yeah, guys, high five. Yeah, we're out. Yeah, playoffs. We got the shield. Who cares? And all of a sudden, Tata's gonna say, checkmate. Put Messi in, and all of a sudden, we're gonna go up one. We're gonna tie it 1-1. And at the last minute, bam, Messi free kick. Enjoy. Calls game.
Love it.
That's
So
the
2-1 final, right?
2-1 final.
At the buzzer.
69th minute.
At the
69th
death.
minute.
69th and then 96. Why not?
You know what I mean?
Butt to butt.
Chris, do you think they're gonna start their usual suspects, or do you think that they'll start them and then pull them early, or do you think that they'll just rest them all together?
No, they'll just pull them early. I said it. They'll start them and pull them early. It's my prediction.
I think so too.
All right,
I
guys.
think
So
they'll pull them after they've gone up 3.
regardless of what happens, it will be really interesting. It would be very interesting if Messi doesn't play. It'll obviously be interesting if he does play. All the buildup, even before the Chicago match, was that he wasn't going to play Chicago. He was eyeing Cincinnati for a return. The reports all day today that Messi's still eyeing Saturday to return, that Messi's going to play, likely that he plays. He's been training apart from the group, but training nonetheless. So it's going to be really it's going to be something to watch in the buildup, whether he's announced in that lineup, be it in the starting lineup or be it on the bench. Hopefully he plays because it's just a joy to watch. And this is the last chance we really have, because after Saturday's match, he flies out for Argentina. And unless we make the playoffs, that's it until next year. So
He might stay there.
let's not get crazy. Let's hope that he does play because that's just it's better for the game. It's better for us. It's better for the game. It's better for you guys. And hopefully after the match, we'll be here with the champagne bottles and pots and pans for what would be a really exciting win, regardless of who plays. So as always, we appreciate you guys for coming out and listening. And thanks for joining the Heron Heads, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. We'll catch you on the next one.